Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, there's my cup.
I have my Christmas in July cup. Tripp.
There you go. There you go.
There we go.
It, baby.
Yeah.
Nothing like Christmas in July when it's, 90 plus degrees.
Details. Welcome everyone to the start of season 5 here on Trippin Up. Our spotlight for this episode is the British invasion. We're returning to 1964. Of course, that was the year the British conquer America. And we're going to start with a flashback quiz. Viewers, we invite you to play along. We're going to start off with a multiple choice question. Here we go. In 1964, according to Nielsen Media Research, what was the highest TV rated series? Was it A, The Dick Van Dyke Show, B, The Beverly Hillbillies, C, Bewitched, or D, The Fugitive? A, B, C, or D?
That's a good question. I'm going to go with the Beverly Hillbillies because I think that was number one then. I'm pretty sure it wasn't Bewitched. That was on ABC. The Fugitive, while very popular in the last episode, was hugely popular. I don't think that was number one. Again, it's another ABC show, and I don't think ABC hit number one. So, yeah, I would say Beverly Hillbillies at this point.
You're right. Followed by Bewitched. That was number 2. Here we go with an open-ended question. A key month in the British invasion, of course, was April 1964. Can you name one of the top box office hits at that time? One of the top 3 in April 1964.
Well, it wasn't. Mary Poppins did not come out till later in 1964, so I know it wasn't that one. Sound of Music.
That was, I think, 65.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think.
Okay. Oh boy, 64. Well, let's see. I don't think Goldfinger comes out until later in the year. Oh boy, that's a good question. Phil, I'm drawing a blank. I'm drawing a blank.
There were the 3. And number 1 was the Pink Panther.
Oh, wow.
Number 2, Tom Jones. It won a Best Picture. I didn't know that. And then number 3, I never watched this. The Mad World.
Real quick, Phil, before we move on, something about the Pink Panther, just a little tie-in here. One of the most recognizable cartoon themes of all time, and the guy who did the sax solo, his name's Plas Johnson, and he just passed away recently at the age of 90. Plas Johnson never got what was recognized as a jazz musician. He played on the Merv Griffin studio band for a while, did a lot of jazz recordings. He just passed away, so I figured I'd throw that little tidbit in there with the Pink Panther theme.
Very good. Question number 3 is true or false? True or false? According to Magazine Publishers Association in 1964, Playboy magazine had the 4th highest circulation in the U.S. True or false?
True.
4th?
True.
The answer is false. They were in the top 10 at number 1, Reader's Digest, number 2, TV Guide, number 3, McCall's, number 4, Look, and number 5, Life magazines. Now,
how many of them are still around in 2026?
Tripp, you're not going to be surprised. I checked on that very question. Reader's Digest and TV Guide still around. McCall's, no. Look, no. Life, kind of. They have those bookazines. You might see them in the grocery store checkout counter. And Action may be coming back. And viewers, in case you're wondering, in 1964, the Miss April Playmate of the Month was Ashlyn Martin. She grew up in Dayton, Ohio. There you go.
Okay. Oh, okay, now there's some I did not know.
It's probably a good thing neither one of us knew that. Question number 4. It's our fourth and final question in our flashback quiz. This is multiple choice. In April 1964, the Beatles held the top 5 positions on the Hot 100. Which of these songs was not among the top 5 on April the 4th? Can't Buy Me Love, Twist and Shout. Number 3, I Want to Hold Your Hand. Number 4, I Saw Her Standing There. Or number 5, Please, Please Me. Again, we're looking for the one that was not in the top 5.
I want to say I Want to Hold Your Hand, and the reason is because I think that was the first hit for the Beatles, and that was probably moving down the chart at that time. That's my guess of those 5 songs, although you'll probably say to me, no, they're all 5 were in there, Tripp. You're wrong.
I hadn't thought of that. That would have been a good approach. Viewers, did you get this one right? The answer is I Saw Her Standing There. Hey, viewers, let us know how you did with the flashback challenge. And now let's move into our A-side challenge. We're going to count down the top British invasion groups. Now, I'm going to ask people to be patient with me a little bit. I took a different approach on this. And Tripp is not aware of this challenge in advance. So he's giving us answers off the top of head, just like you, the viewers are. I compiled a list of the top British invasion groups ranked by their most streamed song today. A little bit of a mouthful. British Invasion, most streamed song on Spotify, had to be released between 64 and 66, considered the era of British Invasion. The more Spotify streams, the higher they are on the list. Now, I'm looking for 5, the top 5. I'm going to go ahead and give you one of them. The Beatles come in at number 2. What do you think their top streaming song is today?
The Beatles' top streaming song, or are we looking for
for this
Beatles' top streaming song?
Yep.
I want to say Hey Jude.
Top streaming song is Yesterday.
Okay.
And that ranks them number 2 among all the British Invasion top streaming songs. Who might be the other 4 members in the top 5? Start with the group.
I'm pretty sure number 1 is the Rolling Stones.
You are correct.
Yeah, and I say this because you're talking about streaming, and the Rolling Stones have been around and together all this time. I mean, the thing about the Beatles is if you combined their efforts as solo artists, they would just blow them away. It would just blow them away. But remember, the Beatles broke up in 1970. They've been apart now for over 50 years, whereas the Rolling Stones continue to do new stuff. In fact, their new album is Foreign Tongue. So that's number 1. In terms of streaming, wow, that's a
for the Rolling Stones. Yeah, they have the top streaming song from the British Invasion era. What do you think it is?
Satisfaction.
Paint It Black.
Okay.
Easily the biggest streaming song. Okay, so we have the Rolling Stones and we have the Beatles. Just looking for 3 more groups.
Well, I in terms of groups, I want to think about groups that have had some longevity, I guess. The Kinks would be one of them.
You are correct. Okay. They come in at number 4. Very good.
Herman's Hermits, because I just saw Peter Noon perform. I'm thinking Herman's Hermits is still somewhat popular.
They came in at number 9.
Okay. Who did not get together until after the British invasion, and I don't think they had any British invasion songs, so I'll eliminate them. The Moody Blues. who probably caught the tail end of that.
They are not on this. They're not in the top 10.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, this is okay. I got to think of groups here.
Well, let's go back. You eliminated a group. They actually came in at number 5. The Who did have a song released during the British invasion. It is the 5th most streamed song.
Okay, well,
what do you think it is?
Pinball Wizard's the only thing that comes to mind.
Talking about My Generation.
Okay.
My Generation, the 5th most streamed British invasion song. So we've got 4 of the 5. There is a group that covered a really old song, and it was a huge hit during the British invasion. Talked about a certain domicile of ill repute.
Oh, the Animals, House of the Rising Sun.
They came in at number 3. So the top 5 most streamed songs from the British invasion era by British invasion groups. Number 1 is Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones. Yesterday by the Beatles. House of the Rising Sun is number 3. The Kinks, You Really Got Me was the song by the Kinks at number 4. And of course, The Who with My Generation. Now, as far as the remaining groups, there was a group that did a transportation song that came in at number 10, kind of a transportation song.
Oh, got me. You got me.
The Hollies with the song Bus Stop.
Bus Stop.
comes in at number 10.
Okay.
The Hermits song was I'm Into Something Good. That's number 9.
Well, that was included in the soundtrack to the first Naked Gun movie.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why.
Yeah, and of course they had I'm Henry VIII, I Am.
At this point, to digress just a sec, was at a concert with Peter Noone and Tommy James and the Shondells. And Peter Noone was very engaging. He was really great. The only problem was you really couldn't understand he talked because he has this thick British accent, and it really kind of comes out, and he talks very fast. And my daughter mentioned that, but he's very enthusiastic, puts on a great show. We still have 8, 7, and 6, I do.
That's correct. Want to take a guess?
Well,
think Walking Dead. Characters in Walking Dead are what?
The zombies.
Zombies. The song is She's Not There. They come in at number 8. Number 7.
She's not there. Okay.
Think the Bill Murray movie, Stripes.
Oh, Manfred Mann and Diddy.
I didn't do these clues in advance. I keep telling myself I'm going to. Okay, here we go. Number 6. It's a tough one. I think it's a tough one. Early only had a couple hits. I'm just going to go ahead and give it to you. The Spencer Davis Group, Give Me Some Lovin'.
Oh, Give Me Some. Oh, yeah. Well, part of the reason the Spencer Davis Group is so popular is Steve Winwood. Steve Winwood was in the group and played on that, and I think that's one of the reasons why they're still popular, because I think Steve is touring, and he kind of shows that or talks about that. So I don't think I'm that surprised by that, really.
Viewers, how did you do? Let us know in the comments. We really enjoy reading your comments. By the way, Tripp can be found on WTRSradio.com and weekdays on WRHQ.com, 105.3 FM in Savannah, Georgia. We're going to move on to our B-side segment. This is where we dig a little bit deeper. We just go into whatever direction we want to go to. It's also called Alas, I Digress. Do you have anything for the B-side?
Well, we're talking about the British invasion, and I think what was so amazing about that time was it just absolutely flipped rock and roll on its ear. And again, part of this was you've got to think about it. Rock and roll has these little, you look at it over the course of time, and they have these little eras, I guess you would call them. Elvis started off infancy of rock and roll. He was the king of rock and roll. Then you had Elvis go into the army. And you had Ricky Nelson, you had some teen idols and the Beach Boys in the early 60s. But then the death of President Kennedy was such had such an impact. And the world was ready for a change, and the Beatles were that change. But it also just knocked all the American groups out of the ballpark, it seems. You can probably, Neil Sedaka, his career derailed. Ricky Nelson fell off the charts. Um, so you had this void that was filled by the British invasion and the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, the Who, Herman's Hermits, the Kinks. These were all popular. And you had some other singers too. By the way, I got one for you. I'll ask you a question. What was the first British singer to score on the American Hot 100 in the 1960s?
Cliff Richard.
No, Cliff did not. Listen, good guess though. Good guess. He was very popular in England, but he didn't translate it over here in America. Dusty Springfield.
Oh, okay.
Dusty Springfield was the first one to hit in America. It was in the latter part of 1963. And of course, the other part of this that I mentioned about the Beatles is Please Please Me played on WLS in Chicago in March of 1963. And they also Dick Clark did a Raider record with the Beatles, and they performed miserably on that. And so Swan Records was very disappointed. And of course, that there was Swan Record, VJ Records, I should say, VJ Records was the first to release it, and VJ Records was also the record company of the Four Seasons. Well, when Beatlemania hit, they were swamped, and as a result, they went out of business because they couldn't keep up with orders. And then Capitol took back, Capitol started releasing everything, and they lost the Four Seasons too because Phillips Records signs the Four Seasons away from them, and they unfortunately went out of business.
I'm just going to mention something real quick, and then we're gonna continue to move on here. There were two factors as it relates to the British invasion. You talked about one, that was here in America, there just was a real desire for something fresh, something uplifting. I mean, culturally, America was looking for something new. But there was an economic reason for it as well, and that was that the British invasion groups came to America because they were not getting any airplay over in their native country because the BBC would only allow so many, very limited number of their songs to even be played on the air. They were getting played on pirate radio, but not on mainstream broadcasting, and that's a topic for a different time. Hey, if you like revisiting music and the memories from yesteryear, you got to check out Tripp's Music Yearbook. Tripp, where can viewers find your music yearbook?
The Music Yearbook is on WTRSradio.com. That's we have a number of radio stations that do carry it, including the first one, which is Vinyl 91.9 WBNJ, 107.5 WRUU in Savannah, Georgia. One of the streamers that carries us to 9WTYM.org. The show is also broadcast throughout the day on TotalChaosRadio.com.
Time for Tripp's Triple Play. 3 favorite songs from any of the songs that we've talked about in this episode. Viewers, let us know what your favorite song is we mentioned in this episode. Tripp, what do you got?
Well, I think She Loves You by the Beatles is always going to be a favorite. One of the songs they performed on the Ed Sullivan Show. And I think that's a great song. Another one which I will pull, Herman's Hermits. I'm Into Something Good. I mean, Herman's Hermits is just phenomenal group. And when you talk about the Rolling Stones, you always go back to Satisfaction. And Mick Jagger famously said, "I do not want to be playing this song when I am 50." Yeah, Mick, you're now in your 70s. You still play at every concert. And we talked about it. She's Not There by the Zombies. I've always, and Phil, we talk about, and I'm sure you do it too. When a song comes on the radio and you're in the car and you're alone, volume goes up automatically.
Yep.
And that's one of those songs that you jam to. She's Not There is one of those songs, bum, bum, bum. And I'm like, okay, going up. And that's the thing about some of these songs. They're so memorable and so, like I say, feel good songs. I think you hit the nail on the head about the British invasion. Just going back to Stones real quick. I always loved Under My Thumb. And that was the song they opened up their tours in the 1980s. And I remember that. And Under My Thumb, I always liked that song. Understated Rolling Stone song. I don't think it really was a huge, huge hit, but understated. So I'll put that in there.
Hey, viewers, and you know what? Just like Tripp and I, we all grew up where our communities were built on affinity, what we did and who we liked, limited by where we lived. Today, that limit's gone. We connect with others no matter where we happen to be. And on this channel, that affinity is music. Thanks for joining us. Please join us again as together we revisit the music and the memories from the greatest era in music from the British invasion up to Born in the USA.